Hello and welcome to this week's edition of the Scarlets Fever podcast. Joining me, Big M, as always, is the magical Catboy and Carwin. How are we doing, lads?
Very good.
Very, very good.
So, a bit of an elephant in the room. Me and Carwin have been absent for a little while now, who proudly stood in last week whilst I was indisposed. I forget his name now. Bradley.
Bradley Gibson.
So, famous TikToker, well over 150,000 followers. What's he like? Is he humble?
Yeah, he was class. He was he'd never done a podcast before. It's always funny, people who haven't done podcasts before, is you get some people are very like excited and just want to tell you all the things, and you get some people who are very like, I'll wait till be asked to speak and then I'll speak and then I'm sorry. And then worst case, you get some people who don't realize that it's a speaking type thing. But Bradley wasn't any of those. He was fantastic, and fantastic to have such a successful content creator in the world of Scarlets.
Well, the camera loves him, the mic loves him. What more can we ask? So, season is, well, the regular season for all the little clubs in the world, barring the top 14, is now officially over. So let's dig in. So we've got something special for everyone. If you can remember the start of the season, we sort of done a player ranking tier system. Who do you remember the exact categories we used?
Not really.
Not really.
I think the bottom one was point to prove, and the top one was starts every game or something like that.
Yes, that sounds.
It's still on YouTube if people want to go and search it. It's on the playlist. Scroll back until last September. It's there.
Okay, so we've got it up on the screen. So audio viewers, we will go through this as much as we can. So we've got 5 categories.
I'll talk through the categories because I made them up.
Oh, okay, go on.
So first thing to say. So what we're doing is we're doing a squad season review. So every player that was in the senior squad at the start of the season, we're reviewing them. There are some players who joined mid-season, and there are some senior academy players who played a lot of games who aren't in the pictures. So we'll talk about them at the end. We'll say has anybody that we've missed. Now, we are obviously Scarlets fans, and we have become aware that potentially some Scarlets players do listen to our podcast.
Because they're smart.
We just want to say that we love you all and we will back you all to the absolute hilt. There are no mean categories in this. If you do think you've had a poor season, look away now. So the categories are this. So bottom categories, we go again. I.e., you've not had a amazing season. There's always next season, so go for it. The next category is done a job, as in you come in, you've done what you were asked, no more, no less. Rising star, someone who's broken into the team this year who we think is set for incredible things in the future. The second top category is please don't leave, which is, I think we can probably think of who the players who are going to be in that. They're ones who, we've had a few players leave the Scarlets over the last couple of seasons, so please, all the ones in this category will be lost without you, so please don't go. And then the top category is Alex Craig, for obvious reasons. I want to be clear, though, that other players can be in Alex Craig.
Oh, I can't. I can't take you seriously.
I agree.
So, just for reference, Carmen wasn't with us when we done the original squad ranking S system, but it should be noted that any contentious decisions I absolutely smashed to on first time round.
Okay, so Carwin, Martin thinks this is a competition, and he thinks that
It
if he gets a player in the category that he wants in, that's a point to him. That's not how it works.
No. If you wanted in one category and I wanted in another, that's the battle we're talking about.
So I'll take us off the fence this time.
No, you go first, so then I know whether or not to back down. And,
it's not a battle, right? And then last time we did this, it took an hour. So let's try and not take an hour this time.
Yeah, no.
Okay. So it's on your screen. So
okay,
give us our first man.
First thing I'll say is there are some players in this list who have retired this season. So like Ken is in the list. He didn't obviously play a game this season. He's retired. But I'll be damned if the last ever squad tier list that Ken Owens is in, he's not in the top tier. So that's just how it's going. Okay. I'm not putting Ken Owens in not the top tier.
Well, who knows?
Good news for me.
He might turn out for Carmarthen Athletic. Who knows?
That'd be nice, wouldn't it?
Mm.
Okay. Who have we got? Let's start with Jack Price. What do we think of Jack Price this season? He's played a lot of games. He's actually our most selected second row of the season. Got the most starts in the number 5 jersey. What are we saying, Mark?
I'm torn. I'm torn between Done a Job and Rising Star.
I'm
Jump.
thinking Rising Star more than done a job because he's been, as you say, picked more than any of the second row in what's been a very tough season for the pack. So yeah, I think done a job might be a bit harsh. As in, if we could go in between, I'd sort of be bottom
No, we
Rising
had
Star.
this last time. There's no in between. It's one or the other.
Rising Star for me then.
Okay, right. We can't be all here all night. Congratulations, Jack Price. You're in Rising Star. Okay, Johnny McNichol can't go in. Please don't leave because he has left.
He's
So
Alex Craig.
yeah, he's got to be Alex Craig. You look back on his
Is he not
stats. I
this
think
season?
he's still like our top offloader. He's still like top for line breaks. His stats are still amazing, and he's played
He
like
jumped
7
ship.
games.
He jumped ship.
He went back home though. He went back to the Crusaders. They needed
I mean,
him.
He's 33 years old, and instead of picking up a player from the NPC, a Super Rugby side said, "When hang on, Johnny McNichol's still bloody playing. Let's get him." That should tell
He
you
was their
enough
best player as well.
by far.
Just upset he went.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right. Okay. Here's one then for you. Josh McLeod.
we go again. He played
We
what
go
3
again.
games. That's no disrespect to the guy himself. He's absolutely awesome when he takes our field, and he, especially on form, he's Alex Craig when he's on form, but he just didn't
Recently
get the
seen one
chance
of
this
him.
year.
Yeah.
Is it fair to say that making him squad captain not a decision that's aged well?
It hasn't worked out, does it? Just because of the injuries and stuff, and it's such a shame. He's so talented, but I'd love to see him get a fit 60-70% of the season in, really, but it's hard.
Okay. Next up, where should we go
Very
next?
somber, sorry.
Sean Evans. Played a lot of games. I'm not sure he is our most selected hooker. I'll tell you now. No, Ryan Elias is. So line out throwing probably something for him to work on, but apart from that, in the loose, he's been excellent. So what are we thinking?
I will put him in done a job because exactly what you just said. In the loose, he is amazing. But the problem we find with a lot of players in the hooker position now, they're converted back rowers. And when they don't have that sheer bulk or experience scrummaging, it just doesn't always balance out. And unfortunately, I don't see him playing a great deal next season, unless we get a few injuries.
Okay, lost him now. Where's he gone? There we go. Right. Into
We
done a
love you,
job.
Sean.
Into done a job. He goes. There's some frustrating ones in here. Scott Williams. I mean, he's still on the books, isn't he, for next season?
Is he?
We go again.
Is he still? He's still on the books for next season, isn't he?
I thought he was gone personally. My phone is out of reach, and I'm not stepping up off this laptop.
Carwin, could you please check in the background whilst we do the next player?
Yeah, of course.
Thank you. Oh, right. Okay. Bit of news then. Johnny Williams has signed a new contract. He is now
Woohoo!
committed to the Scarlets. He is not in the Wales squad anymore. So he originally came in the Scarlets to play for Wales. He's now not only not in the Wales squad anymore, but he's lost his Wales squad place to Eddie James. Congratulations, Eddie, on getting your first ever cap. Many more to come. So Johnny is now Scarlets first. For me, it's like a fresh start for him, and he's now Mr. Scarlets, and he deserves fan backing all the way. So, what do we make of his season? Bear in mind, his stats have been phenomenal.
Yeah, Johnny. From we go back even into last season now. He came back from injury, I think Six Nations time against Munster. Had a stormer in that game, but he seemed to have a sort of a weight on his shoulders where he had to do everything himself. I'm thinking that was more due to the Wales involvement. I'm thinking he has to show he can do this and that, etc., etc. With that now seemingly gone, I'm expecting him to really basically be Hadley Parks in his first 3 seasons for us. You know, we're now in a position, if we can get them all fit, of having 3 top class centres, and that's going to be unbelievable. So, Johnny, I know you've just signed a contract, but you're still a young guy. Please don't leave.
I think he has to go and please don't leave because if he leaves, we've got two centres.
Yeah, and I think he's proved enough since joining us to fall into that category. Scott Williams was on the leavers list.
Oh, was he? Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
I call that 1-0.
All right, Scott's going in Alex Craig then as well because he's a club legend.
Yeah. But if it's based on this season, unfortunately, I don't think he fits that category.
Should we
Yeah,
just
but
create a new
neither does
category
neither
for
does Ken.
retirees?
Ken didn't play at all. He's in Alex Craig.
I never said to put Ken there. That decision was made before we started talking.
Well, he's there now.
Okay.
Right. Uh, Kemsley Mathias. Wales international, Kemsley Mathias.
Ooh, I
Good job.
personally still think he's a rising star.
Yeah. I see that because I think there's a lot of players in our team who aren't anywhere close to their peak.
But based on this season and the way our scrum's been mangled,
Well, then it's hard to put him in done a job, isn't it? Because he's the most penalised prop in the URC.
But
but I
to
mean,
be
yeah.
fair, on those penalties, I went back through every single game, and more than half, so majority of his pens came when he was injured or his first game back.
But if
It's a
he's the
tricky
most
one.
penalised prop in the URC, can you really put him as a rising star?
But yeah, you've seen him everywhere else, and his scrummaging, he is solid. But when you put him with a really light hooker who isn't exactly known for scrummaging, you, it's a hard balance, for anyone. Your locks play a part in the scrum.
I think Kemsley was better last season than he was this season. So for that reason, I think he needs to go and we go again. Because I think he's capable of being a lot better than he was this season.
But does that mean we go again is better than done a job?
No.
No, but I
You
get
go again
I'm
as you reset and start over, where done a job is you've been all right this year, is how I read it.
yeah. They can be good, but like Josh McLeod is in, we go again. They can be good players in, we go again.
A three-way dice over here. This is quite awkward.
Karen,
So
what are you going?
let's pick the middle one. Done a job.
Middle one.
Yeah. All right then.
I win 1-0. What a
Morgan
joke, eh?
Jones. I know where I'm putting him.
Please don't
Yeah,
leave.
100% agree with that.
No, I've put him in Rising Star.
Yeah, that's what I think. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think
Rising. I think his ceiling's almost tapped. Personally,
He's
he
barely
showed
started. He doesn't play that much. I don't think you can say that he's hit his ceiling if he's hardly played any games.
his best season for us was 2 years ago.
How
That
old
that
is
was
he?
he's 24, 25.
Yeah, there's different for locks. I think he's a rising star. His stats were excellent this season. He just hasn't played very much. And Carwin agrees with me, so there you go.
mm.
Carwin, you're a fool. You should be agreeing with
No,
me.
no, he's a
Uh,
rising star. I expect a big year for him next year.
Hmm.
a big year being fourth choice.
It's two locks.
I
But
I'd argue I'd argue you've got two first choices and two second choices, and I'd put Morgan Jones as one of the two second choices.
yes, I agree.
2 + 2 =
4. So does that
Okay,
make
keep going. Let's keep
Johnny
going.
Williams our third choice centre or second choice 12?
But left lock and right lock are totally interchangeable. 12 and 13 aren't. Not every player can do it.
Johnny's
Every
been
lock.
playing 13 all
Johnny
season.
playing 13 all season.
So he's second choice 12 and second choice 13.
So does that make him second choice or third choice?
Second choice for each position because they're different.
Oh,
Especially
here we go. Here
left
we go.
lock and right lock aren't.
That's
Okay.
it.
We'll agree to disagree.
His head's gone. Right. Good. We're getting into some good players left on this list. I'm looking down. Right. I propose a motion. Any player who has crossed the bridge is ineligible to be ranked.
Fair.
Carwin?
I think that's a bit unfair, but we rank him, or we base our ranking on such decisions.
Or is it the ultimate sin? What if you cross the bridge and then do an announcement video in full kit?
Then you deserve to be shot, and the management deserve to be shot with them.
I would have suggested then that certain players' profile photos would have been put in at the bottom, but I don't mind. Yeah.
We'll come back to them. Dinky Jones, he can't go again because he's left.
So is Alex Craig then?
No, it's not the same. Dinky Jones didn't score a Grand Slam winning try at Twickenham.
You see, my issue is I feel like done a job is too low because he has done a job for us whenever he's been picked, but sort of if we're reviewing his time with us as a whole as opposed to just this season, because we kind of put him in we go again because he won't be going for us again, but yeah.
Should we have an unofficial bye-bye category and just leave the players down at the bottom?
Dinky, what played 2-3 games for us this season? Conceded a penalty try in one of them.
I love Dinky to hell and back. You know, model schoolboy. You know, Carmarthen, born and bred. You don't get more Scarlet than Dinky. So
I think over his career for the Scarlets, he's done a job.
Yeah, over his career, he's done a job.
Okay. Johan Lloyd, most picked at fly half. Now, I'm worried that people think I have a downer on Johan Lloyd. I think he's an extremely talented rugby player. I think ball in hand is fantastic. I think his aerial skills are massively underrated. His kicking from hand is great, and his goal kicking is also great. And he gives 110% to the Scarlets every time he steps out on that pitch. Never doubted his commitment or his effort. The thing that I'm stuck on is I don't believe that fly half is his best position. Is that fair?
And for that reason, I think he goes and done a job this season.
I'm not sure because he's still incredibly young. He still has a lot to learn. He's still a rising star. He hasn't exactly found his position, has he? And looking at where we are,
as he moves around a bit.
Yeah. Looking at where we are going into the future, I mean, we'll come on to Johan Nicholas later, who's basically in the same position. You know, we've got Charlie Titcombe, who will get a lot more exposure now. You know, just because Dwayne's actually going to have to look at him, and he's going to have someone over his shoulder telling him, you know, this guy's actually half decent. And then you look at our 10s coming through the academy. You know, I can see Johan within the next 2 years being in that 15 jersey full time. So I'd stick him in Rising Star personally.
What's your take, Carwin? Where did you say put him?
This season, I think he's done a job. I feel like he was signed as a fullback, but hasn't been picked there. He's been picked in a different position where compared to the other choices we've had in that position, there's been a clear difference in quality.
It's difficult to
Um,
put him in Rising Star when he was in the Wales squad, started against England, and now wasn't in the Wales squad at all. Now, we're not picking purely on whether the players play for Wales or not, clearly, because we put Johnny Williams in Please Don't Leave. Uh, it's it's difficult. I think a lot of bright moments have come through Johan Lloyd, and I think that the issues that he's had aren't his fault. So I think you have to put him in done a job.
I'm disappointed, but 2 from 3.
Can't find him now. There you go.
I fully expect him next year to potentially be an Alex Craig. I think he's got the talent. He just needs to be given a shirt and be let to run with that shirt and not chop and change. As in, I thought
Yeah,
Bristol did the same to him in chopping him from fullback to wing to whatever. But he just needs a long stint in one shirt. And I think Johan Nicholas has proven this year, if you give a player time and a chance in the same position week in, week out, they give you performance after performance after performance. Johan Lloyd just needs that chance.
yeah. Um, shall we just put Johan Nicholas straight in Alex Craig then?
Yes.
Fantastic season, Johan.
Yeah.
I don't think he's proved a lot of people wrong because I don't think anybody ever doubted him, but I think he's surprised a lot of people with how good he was.
He surprised a lot of people outside of the Scarlets region.
Hmm. Samson Lee is in this list, I've just noticed. What should I do with him?
He's a legend.
I remember my favourite Samson Lee memory is when we played the semi-final up in Glasgow, and Glasgow had a scrum on our 5 metre right on half time, and we shoved them off their own ball and won the penalty. That was a good moment. I was like, we're going to the final, boys. This is it. In an audio format, if you could say yes rather than just nod, that would be
Oh,
handy.
sorry, yes.
Yes!
Nod and doesn't work on audio. Sorry,
Yeah.
yeah.
Sorry, avid audio listeners, we're being very poor tonight.
Okay, next, bare feet, please don't leave.
Yeah.
Got to
Yeah.
be 15 line out steals. People need to realize, just like, oh, yeah, cute, 15 line out steals. No, do you realize how much more that is than anybody else in the whole URC? It's like twice as many.
And how many games did he play?
Yeah. And also, by the way, if he was Welsh, would be playing for Wales right now. Like, ridiculously, arguably the most talented player in Wales. Please don't leave there. Similar kind of vein, Sam Lousy almost did leave, by all accounts, but didn't. He's got to be in Please Don't Leave, surely, as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mark, come on, let's have it.
I said yeah, didn't I? Or didn't you hear me?
You said yeah in an unconvinced way. Made me think that maybe you had a different view.
No, I was thinking he's just signed a new contract, so
Yeah, but
and he's probably not going to be around to sign another one. So apples, oranges. I'm happy with he is.
okay. Tom Rogers, for me, is in We Go Again.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he hasn't had the most consistent of seasons, whether that's through injury or otherwise. But
Playing
there's
out
a
the
lot of
wing.
talent in the boy.
Arguably, wing isn't his long-term position.
Nah.
A bit of a
Nobody's-
victim of selection, you'd arguably say.
Yeah. I mean, when you got Johnny McNichol in front of you and you've basically not been told, but all your attributes lend yourself to full back, and then your time comes and you pick up an injury, you're like, shit. You know, where we've seen Johan Nicholas really be outstanding the second half of the season, we should have really been seeing Tom Rogers do that.
Right, Martin, do you remember a couple of weeks ago I told you I had an amazing stat?
Yes, you did. I think it was just over a week ago.
Yeah, it was
What's
ahead
that
of the
like?
last pod. So I did Razzie Erasmus style battle stats for all URC players, but I didn't read them all, obviously, because that would take my entire life. But it's basically you add up all of the positive contributions a player can have to a game. Tackles, offloads, line breaks, defenders beaten, clean outs, blah, blah, blah. All the things a player can do in a game to positively contribute it. Who do you think was the Scarlets' top battle stats player? And I'll give you a clue. He was clear by about 13-14% compared to anybody else.
Percent.
More than
That's
10% better than anybody else.
that's a lot. I mean, I want to say Alex Craig because just the sheer amount of games he played, but seeing as the way you're talking, it makes me think this is going to be a surprise. Hmm. Who could it be? Gareth Davis?
No. Carwin, any guesses?
Ryan Ryers.
No. Ryan Elias was high up. Our top battle stats player this season is a certain Carwin Tuipulotu.
Doesn't
I'm
surprise
gonna
me.
I'm gonna say that was my second guess, but it's a bit pretty poor saying that afterwards.
I thought you were going to say Carwyn Evans then. I got very excited.
So,
On not just Carwin Evans, Carwin J Evans.
so, so the question is where to put him. Now, again, people forget. I'm going to say this a lot during this pod.
Baby.
People forget how young he is, how young he came into the team. He had a setback is harsh. He came into the team and then was out of it again. But he is now, I think most people would agree, Scarlet's first choice number 8. And like we talked on the pod about how we've recalibrated what type of player we think he is, and he brings a balance to the force in terms of our back row, where it's not lots of rampaging stallions all doing a special magic things. It's like 3 players who actually bring different attributes to the team that makes us more complete. He does that. So I feel like I want to put him in Rising Star.
Yeah, I'm
Agree.
happy with that.
And I'd like just to add a caveat. If he has a full season next season with a balanced back row, he moves into the please don't leave category at the least. I feel like if we can get a balance of a back row around Carwyn, then we will see the best of him. And watch out when that happens.
I did pick a battle stats 15. Can you still see the tier list, or are you now seeing an Excel spreadsheet?
No,
list.
still see the tier list.
Okay, so I'm looking on my Excel spreadsheet, so bear with me. So largest to
Battle
smallest.
stats. Battle stats. Whenever you're in trouble.
No. Battle stats.
That doesn't work.
Yeah. So I'll just run you through some of our top performers. Something about when you do that, it doesn't work properly. So Carwyn Tuipulotu is top of the battle stats, 37, which is the most.
Just a number.
Ryan Elias is second. Alex Craig is third. Sean Evans is fourth. So there is
That's
a big
unlucky.
drop off, I should say. So Carwyn's on 37. Sean Evans is on 28, down in fourth. And then Sam Lousy is then in fifth. The next person on the list is someone who's not in the tier list because they're not in the senior squad. And that's a certain Tedward Leatherbarrow. Where would we rank him if he hadn't left?
Rising star.
Rising
Boy,
star.
he's insane. How he's been allowed to go is absolutely shocking. And like I said the last time I was on the pod, as far as I'm aware, he's not even playing pro rugby next season. It's for someone as talented as him, it's begs belief. I don't have the words for it. It's just unreal.
So just while we're at it, our battle stats 15 is, there's a bit of debate to be had here. So number 1, Wyn Jones. Interesting. He has played a lot of time at tight head. Number 2, Ryan Elias. Number 3, Harry O'Connor, Wales international Harry O'Connor. Number 4, Alex Craig. Number 5, Sam Lousy. See, it sounds right, doesn't it? There's some logic behind the stats. Number 6, Tane Plumtree. Again, sounds right. Number 7, Teddy Leatherbarrow. You could arguably play Sean Evans there because he's higher in the battle stats and he did start life as a 7. Number 8 is Carwyn Tuipulotu. Number 9, Kieran Hardy. Now, Kieran, obviously better off the bench, I think it's fair to say.
Yeah,
And he will have gotten most of those minutes off the bench. So our most picked scrum half this season was Gareth Davis. Um, number 10, the Johan Lloyd's battle stats are better than Sam Costello's. You
quantity.
you could play Johan Lloyd at 15 and have Costello at 10. That does make sense. Um, and then I'll stop there because we're getting into players that we haven't spoken about yet. So next one, interesting player, Steph Evans. So Steph Evans, statistically speaking, is one of, if not the best winger in the URC. His per 80 stats in pretty much every facet that you say a winger needs to be good at is through the roof. He does the most of any winger.
Yeah, I mean, Steph is one of those players you either love him or you hate him. For me, I had a word for him and it's gone from my mind. You know, he's one of them players that if you can get him on your team sheet and you're sorted, then it's golden. You're going to be cracking. But when you need, your carriers, your defensive players, when you need every single player to do their job, as in, you can protect some players by, if you've got a weaker 10, for instance, you can have just a wrecking ball as a 12 to defend that channel. There's ways to, put other players in place to protect those, and that's the type of player Steph is. If you can find a way to protect him defensively, then you get him on that pitch.
Maybe don't let him kick the ball. Uh,
I some of his kicks lead to tries, so it's a balancing act.
Cowan, what's your Steph position?
In the table or in
Just
general?
generally, I'd like to know your thoughts on Steph Evans.
Um, I feel like he's a quality winger. Something happened towards the end of the Wayne Pivac era, where his game coincidentally then went off the boil. At times, I feel he's looked disinterested in playing for the Scarlets, but at the same time, he's a magician full of tricks. So if we can get the, I'll say the pre-COVID Steph Evs back on the wing, then we are in for a treat. I just, I just hope, I just hope his best days aren't past him because I think is he still only 28, 29, I think. So
Yeah,
he's still got a few years left in him, but yeah, he's lost his way a bit, I feel, the last few years.
yeah. I'm going by where you said the Wayne Pivac era. I'm making you thinking the 18-19 season is last year with the Scarlets, where for some unfathomable reason he just stopped picking him,
He
and
went down and
Mm,
played for Llanelli, didn't he?
yeah.
no one understood that reasoning. And just
It's
as I remember the word a luxury player. He's the type of guy you
well,
put in if you can.
I think that's true. I think he's a kind of a case of just because you can do something doesn't mean you should. Like just because you can beat three defenders on the wing doesn't mean necessarily it's the right thing to do every time.
Yeah,
Um, so I think, and he's had a bad injury. So for me, I think Steph is in. We go again.
Yeah.
yeah. He hasn't played that much, has he?
And I genuinely hope he does, that we see his best again.
Hmm. Du-du-du-du-du. Sam Wain, excuse me, Sam Wainwright. Underrated, Mark?
Yeah. I was very saddened to hear that when we were in the when Wales were in the lookout for a travelling reserve of a tight head prop, they didn't go to Sam Wainwright. He's got international experience. He is solid at the set piece, and I'm not saying he will scrummage you off the ball. I'm saying he will hold his own and he will do a job for his club. And that's if you're looking for the bare minimum of a tight head prop, you're more than got it with Sam. He's developing the loose quite nicely, and I think he's what 26. He's still got 7, 8 years left in him, man.
Yeah.
You know, uh, maybe not this World Cup cycle because I think we're stuck with Gatland and he's set in his ways. But who knows? Next World Cup cycle, we could see Sam have a stormer and come full right into it.
Darwin done a job.
Yeah, I think so this year, as in, yeah. Excited to see where his career could go, but this year he's done a job.
I think it's tough to give any prop more than that, to be honest, because the scrum has been an issue. We can't get around it. The stats say that. Harry O'Connor, I'm about to contradict myself in a big way.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah, I think you will have to.
He has to go in Rising Star. He's going to get
Yeah.
tons of minutes for Wales this summer. And look, geez, he is learning the hard way. Blimey, he's basically learning how he's, again, props mature much later than other players. Just get your head down, Harry, and just give it your all. We're all right behind you.
Yeah, Harry is a phenomenal player. It can't be understated. He's got everything in the loose already. And I've talked about him many times when we talked about our own scrum, and probably a lot into last season where he went round. His shape and his form going into a scrum, it's pucker. It's perfect. Even to when you're getting into that bind, and you drop that extra 6+ inches. Everything he does technically is right. And even if we look at the weekend, where he was on the pitch for Wales, South Africa have got a very dominant scrum, but they were angling in for fun, and it annoys you when it's blatant, and you don't normally see it on South Africa. But Harry's gonna have a lot of fun down in Australia. I'm hoping they play. Oh, I've lost his name now. Kalia, I think is the young loosehead they've got. So that'd be an interesting battle if they put them together.
Cool. Next player, scrum half. Evan Jones. Not played very much.
It's hard then not to put him anywhere apart from We Go Again, but isn't it? Just because.
Yeah. Came down from RGC. He's had one start. It's not much to add about him, Mark.
Yeah.
No, I think I'm kind of in the mood of we've only now got 2 scrum halves, and one of them is still a kid, even though I think he's absolutely amazing. We'd be shocked if Evan left for whatever reason. We've got Gareth Davis, who, what more can you say about him? He's a lion, outstanding for batted off so many nines in his career. Then we got Archie, who's many believe he's a lion in waiting, but there's a massive drop off, and then even 12th, fourth choice, we're looking at Lucas Sataro, who's with the under-20s and never played a pro game. So quietly, he's become unbelievably invaluable.
On subject of scrum halves, controversially, I think we have to put Archie Hughes in We Go Again. Because, and I don't think it's his fault, I think he has been not selected in a lot of games where he should have been selected. I'd love to put him in Rising Star. If he's not in We Go Again, he's in Rising Star. Because he's at Wales under-20 starting scrum half last season. If you contrast the seasons he's had with what Dan Edwards, his halfback partner, has had at the Ospreys, I think we're all extremely frustrated we haven't seen more of Archie. He's been playing at Carmarthen Quins all season. So with Kieran going, he's going to play a lot more next season.
I want to put him in Rising Star just because of the fact of when we have seen him, he's been absolutely brilliant, and it's through no fault of his own that he hasn't had the minutes. When you've got 2 internationals in front of you earning a massive paycheck, you're struggling to get in that team.
What are you saying, Karen?
I think he is a rising star, but based on this season's performances, I don't think he goes in that category, just because we haven't seen enough of him. And hopefully, with the departure of one of those international scrum halves you mentioned, Matt, that next year he sort of forces his way into the starting lineup onto the bench, and then he'll definitely fly up the categories. But I just think because of how much we've seen of him, I don't think we can justify putting him up in Rising Star. Sorry.
Darwin agrees with me. Okay, John Fox.
We had to pick a pessimist for the third, didn't we? Jesus Christ.
John Fox.
Mistake.
John Fox goes in Alex Craig, arguably the greatest ever Scarlet. No, what else is there to say?
As in Scarlet 03 plus. Yeah.
Where next? Ryan Combe. Can't go in
Please
We
don't
Go
leave.
Again. Well, he's already left. He can't go in We Go Again because he's left. He can't go in Don't Leave because he has left. But he's
He
done more
no,
than a
he
job.
hasn't gone anywhere else. So please don't
And
leave
it's,
Pembroke.
yeah, we're certain
Please stay.
injuries already.
Where's he going? It'd be banter if I put him in Please Don't Leave.
You gotta just I don't understand how he doesn't have a contract. I really don't. In anywhere in World Rugby.
I can see him like getting signed by someone in English Champ or Dragons.
Dragon seems to be the place, but I don't think they got space for him at the
Well,
minute. Otherwise,
hilariously, we're putting Ryan Combe in Please Don't Leave.
Because that's where his performances have warranted him to be.
All right, okay, let's do a wing partner then. Tommy Lewis, Rising Star. My personal best friend's Tommy Lewis.
one
Rising Star.
message.
Yeah, Rising Star. Yeah.
Yeah, he was awesome, outstanding.
Could play for Wales one day. Could play for Wales one day.
Will play for Wales one day.
Okay, right. Good players left here. Cowdor's a funny one. Cowdor has not had his best season. He got nominated for Player of the Season. I think he's a bit of recency bias. When he first came back into the team after the World Cup, he was amazing. He arguably beat Cardiff on his own. Not a great end to the season. What are we saying? I feel like I can't put Cowdor in. Done a job.
Yeah, the irony is, I think you've got to put a 33-year-old in a Rising Star because it feels
Can't
like
do
he's
that.
middle. But he's not Please Don't Leave this year, and he's more than done a job. Based on his performances this year, I'd put him in the third category. It's not my fault you've called that category Rising Star.
Yeah,
Mark, what are you saying?
He's definitely mid, throughout this season. So it's ridiculous, but I think we've kind of got to put him. We can't put him in Rising Star.
I just feel we've seen the good, the bad, and the ugly from him this year.
I'm stuck. This system has screwed us over a little bit. I think we need an amendment on it next year.
All right, whatever. Okay, he's going and done a job. I think that aggregates out to done a job. Cowdor, if your mistake was that you didn't retire. If you'd have retired, you'd have been in Alex Craig, based on the rules. But unfortunately, you're still here, so you've done a job. That's how it goes. Look, you're in the Wales squad touring Australia. You're going to be Scarlet starting scrum half next season. Worse things have happened to you to being in done a job.
Yeah, bollocks to us.
Sam Costello. Okay, so I did the rap podcast this evening. I get very worked up when people criticize Sam Costello. So I'm going to let you two talk about him, and I'm not going to say anything.
Sam is essentially the best thing since sliced bread where the 10 position is concerned. People knock him for whatever he can, like the BBC put a post on socials. Oh, he missed that kick. Oh no, terrible. How many world-class players have missed kicks early in their career and even later in their career? People, you can name every single 10 that has ever played for Wales, and all of them have missed kicks. No one has ever been perfect. No, there was no praise when he hit the touchline conversion. You just comment. Sam is an unbelievable player, and in terms of what he does for us, let alone Wales, we change dramatically when he's on our pitch. He is, I think, still 23 years old, and he is a leader of men. He is not going anywhere. People moaning, oh, give Ben Thomas a shirt, give what's the Scottish guy that's in the squad's name?
Beeson.
beat them. Give it. He,
Sheedy is the one that I see a lot of. I'm not here to slag off other players, but people have been watching too much TNT Sports.
yeah, I mean, I haven't seen anything of Beetham. Literally nothing. I haven't even watched the game properly from the weekend, so I'm not gonna touch him. Ben Thomas is a really good 12, borderline great at regional level. You know, I'd like to see what he can do internationally, but not a 10. There's no one close to Sam at 10, and people go, oh, Dan Edwards. He's still a baby himself, and he can't be far off what Costello was put in the number 10 shirt for Wales. You know, the age difference. And you're not going to do it. You know, pure and simple. Sam is. I got too many words for Sammy. He's probably. He could be one of our greatest 10s. I'm just going to leave it at that.
Calvin?
Obviously, with great sort of pressure comes great responsibility, and I think the Wales number 10 shirt holds that pressure and responsibility. And yes, he is a fantastic outside half, and I think he's carried us on his shoulders for majority of this season. I do feel like he's the type of player who'd kick a conversion from his own corner flag, but miss one from in front of the post. And sort of, we had a similar 10 who sort of had the same sort of ability who got bullied out of Wales. I just hope Sam Costello doesn't end up being treated the same way. In terms of this tier, it's probably a please don't leave for me.
I agree with that, just because of the injuries.
Yeah, as in he'll
Like
be one of our best players for years, hopefully. But
the adversity the kid has faced this season in
yeah,
terms of like suddenly out of nowhere, you've gone from Scarlets Senior Academy to undisputed first choice for Wales in 12 months. And
yeah,
then you pick up an injury, back for January, straight into the Six Nations, starting 10 for Wales, get injured in the first game, out again, then back for the Scarlets into a Scarlets team that has had a bad season. And like it must
yeah,
be tough being Sam Costello at the moment. And
yeah.
if he is listening, or if anybody who knows him, like I know, I think his uncle on Twitter is very active. Sam, you're amazing. Keep doing what you're doing. We all love you and believe in you.
Yeah, I don't think it's helped him either, the fact that he's been playing in a Scarlets team that hasn't done that well. And naturally in Wales, we tend to blame number 10s when things go wrong. So he's had to burden all of that when it's hardly ever been his fault, as in he doesn't miss X amount of tackles a game. He doesn't not score tries, as in, but it's the way we think in Wales that it's the number 10's fault. So yeah, if we can keep him for forever, then he will probably be our greatest player ever. I do think he's that good. He just needs the pressure taken off him, and
That's
hopefully as
exactly.
yeah.
Okay. Phew, thank you. I'm happy with how that went. Joe Roberts, best 13 in Wales, bar none. Really tough time with injuries this season.
Still on the up for me.
Rising
Yeah,
star?
yeah. I don't think he's hit his ceiling yet.
No, nowhere
No,
near.
Two,
nowhere near it.
two very tough seasons with injury. Obviously, first half last season, second half this.
I think he's a rising star because people outside the Scarlets now realise that he's the best
Mm.
13 in Wales.
I mean, we somehow managed to get Eddie, Joe, Johnny fit, and we are absolutely laughing. And yes, we've been poor because we've had a poorish pack, as in we're not playing very much as a team. We get 9, 10, 12, 13 of Gareth, Archie, Sammy, and any two of Eddie, Johnny, and Joe, and we're running in scores. I don't care how far we get battered back on the gain line; they are going to punish defenses.
Um, Eddie James isn't on this because he was in the senior academy. breakthrough star of the season easily, deservedly in the Wales squad. No, again, a bit like Joe, I don't think he's anywhere close to his potential yet. Um, the it's not a comment about him. This whole season was supposed to be about unearthing 15 Eddie Jameses, and we've unearthed one. That I think the whole thing about this season was bringing through the next generation of Scarlets. I think Eddie James is the only one that we brought through. Honestly,
We had a chance to bring Archie through. We haven't. I mean,
Charlie.
Charlie was he came into the system. I don't think he was ever a case of unearthing him.
Ben Williams, again, not on this list.
In terms of players we had in our squad last season, I don't think we had much hope of getting too many Eddie James style players because that boy was ready last season. Ben Williams is one I will concede and say, yeah, you put him in the squad every week, which quite frankly I think he should have been. Then we're laughing again. Looking at younger players, we saw Max Page come through. I still think, even though he's got all the physical attributes and he could be put in anywhere really, I still think he's a little bit off. So to say we needed 15 Eddie James, we had no chance.
Right, okay, not many left. Tame Plumtree. I feel like I have to keep reminding people this is Tame Plumtree's first ever season of elite rugby.
Is there? He played for the Blues, didn't he?
But I think he's got like 2 games for the Blues, like 2 years ago.
That's like 60% of their season, isn't it?
Oh, okay, true. But yeah, Wales is starting number 6. What else can you say? Rising star. Again, I don't think he's playing his ceiling.
Ooh.
Ooh, what are you saying, Carwin?
I'd have put him in Please Don't Leave. I think when we've seen him,
He's only just got here.
yeah, but when
Exactly.
we've seen him, he's been that good. I know we haven't seen as much of him as we'd have liked because he came over, got injured training for Wales and what have you. But I genuinely think I'd have put him in Please Don't Leave them, personally.
He is the only thing you need to know about in Wales. And I will leave that at that. Not because the other one didn't want to join us for whatever reason.
Yeah. Well, if
We didn't need him.
If people like me are saying about you, your most similar player is Veer Fafita, you must be a bit good.
Yeah.
Oh yes, very good. And if we look into how many games Tane has played and how many lineouts he has stolen, he's not quite as per 80 as Via, but I think he's the next best.
Ryan Elias, still comfortably Scarlet's first choice, taking the year off for Wales.
Yeah.
Second, summer. Second best for battle stats. I'm not sure where to put him, He's not a rising star. Is he in Please Don't Leave?
He's top 2 at least. That's the Please Don't Leave is the bare minimum for Ryan.
What are you saying, Carwin?
Yeah, I'd have said top of Rising Star, bottom of Please Don't Leave. So I'm happy for him to go in Please Don't Leave.
Cool. Wyn Jones has left.
Please Don't Leave.
But he's a Scarlets prop who started for the British and Irish Lions against South Africa.
And isn't he the best scoring prop in that battle? I can't remember what you called it.
Yes, he is. Yeah. Battle stats, yeah.
Battle stats.
So is he in Alex Craig?
Yeah.
He's not actually retired though, has he?
No. I think he's Please Don't Leave.
Yeah. He's got his farm up and around. Oh, I can't exactly remember where, but it's yeah. And
God, imagine if he's playing in Super Rugby Cymru next season. That'd be mental.
he will. I think he will be, unless someone. I mean, I'm thinking Cardiff are probably going to be the most likely regional destination for him. Just because they've
someone will get on the phone to him.
Because I'd even imagine there might be a club just across the Severn Bridge that would be keeping tabs on him, who have lost certain front rowers to clubs in France.
That, by the way, is going to end in tears.
Yeah.
You know what? you've brought it up now, looking at Super Rugby Country. Llandovery is probably going to have an unbelievable amount of pro players that should still be playing pro. I mean, Adam Moran can still do a job. Harry Dole, if Combi doesn't pick up a pro contract, he could easily find himself there. Wyn Jones, if he doesn't pick up a pro contract, he's 100% going to be there. You know, they've been formidable for the last 18 months, and they're just going to get even stronger. It's unreal.
Okay. Dan Davis. Now, I always am in the Dan Davis fan club. His stats are always fantastic. And he's our most picked number 7 this season.
My favourite Dan Davis was the Dan Davis that broke onto the scene, the less bulked up Jacqueline machine. And yes, he still does it, but since he has bulked up, we've seen less and less of it. By virtue of Leather Barrow leaving, and Josh McLeod being injured for 90% of the season, I think he's got to go into please don't leave. I think we're going to be scraping the bottom of the barrel if he left.
Yeah.
And no disrespect, Ben Williams. I love Ben Williams, but I think he's more of a 6'8" than the 7, even though I think he has played 7 on occasion.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I'm not sure if I'd put Dan that high based on this season.
I think he's better than done a job. I think he's done better than a job.
Well, I think there are two. If he could cut his picture in half, I'd put half in Please Don't Leave and half in Done a Job. So maybe I'd put him in Rising Star. I feel like towards the end of the season, we saw a better version of him. And yeah, but I'm happy for him to be there. I'm not against it. I personally would have maybe moved him down 1.
Do we think we should probably swap Rising Star and Done a Job around?
No.
It's way too late for that.
Yeah.
No, I'm not on about right now.
Okay.
Right.
Okay, I'm going to do the quickly. Both Kieran Hardy and Steph Thomas have done a job.
Yeah.
And they've gone to the other place.
Yeah.
Anything else to add on those?
Only that the one player we got left, I think
Goodbye.
this is going to be the most difficult player to place out of the lot.
Well, Alex Craig.
Rising Star.
Wouldn't be wrong.
What a signing. 199 tackles this season, top 3 in the URC. In the top 20 for so many stats in the URC. Has beaten 8 defenders, which is a record for second rows in the URC, twice this season. Phenomenal. What a signing. We didn't know. We put him in point to prove this season at the beginning of the season, which was the lowest category, because we thought, oh, you think you're some big shot, Scotland International coming down the Scarlets. We'll see what you're about. Well, we've seen what you're about, Alex, and you're fucking mint. So
I think what's been amazing with it as well, though, is the way he's sort of grown throughout the season. I think was it the Edinburgh game where he sort of said, duck it, this is my time now. And from that game on, he's just been a different beast on the pitch. As in, he's sort of, from where you might hear his name once or twice in a match, it's basically Alex Craig on repeat.
He has had some proper, I'll just do it myself games.
Yeah. Wasn't the Edinburgh game where he carried 12 of their players on his back and sort of still made 120 yards down the pitch sort of performance?
No, I think it was 15 players.
Oh, 15 was it? Sorry, yeah.
Yeah. And we still didn't manage to execute a 2-on-1. Congratulations. Yeah, there's not much I can say more about you, Alex. Yeah, fantastic. And that's why the top category of the tier list is named after you. Okay. There ends the lesson. I'm going to stop sharing now. A couple more stats. We used the fewest players of any region this season, and yet we made the second most game-on-game changes to the 15.
Unreal.
Speaks to the frustration we've had with selection. Yes, there have been some injuries. Our injuries have been worse than we've spoken about. We haven't made as big of a deal about our injuries as other regions have. But just dropping players unnecessarily. Players who play well and then are out of the team next week for reasons don't know. And it was the same as last season as well. In the last few games, we really reduced the number of game-on-game changes that we were making. In the last 5 games, we made 5, 1, 5, 2, and 2 game-on-game changes, and unsurprisingly, they were our best performances of the season. We had strings of the season where we were changing at least half the team every week. 11, 9, 7, 8, 8, 9, 10, 9, 11 changes per week. Okay, so that was in the Six Nations, but just like tear your hair out at times. The amount of churn to the team that was unnecessary. So our most picked team at the end of the season was Matthias, Elias, O'Connor, Craig, Price, Plumtree. It's mad that Plumtree is our most picked number 6. Tells you how much
How
churn we've
many
had in the
numbers
number
did we
6.
use?
Yeah. Dan Davis, Fair for Peter, most picked number 8. Gareth Davis, Ewan Lloyd, most picked number 10. Con Beer, Eddie James, Joe Roberts, Tom Rogers, and Ewan Nicholas, most picked team. Thing is, though, that's not like all picked together. That's just picked times in the season. The number of times that some of those combinations will have played together is frustratingly few. I think Eddie James and Joe Roberts played together 3 times this season, started together 3 times this season.
Can I say something that I really like about the start of that selection? The Matthias Elias
Yeah.
just runs off a tongue. It's beautiful. It's as if it should go to Wales and Lions. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I think it's fair to say that the squad has played below its ceiling a lot this season. I don't know. Closing thoughts, anybody?
Yeah, poor season. We know we can do a lot better. Coaching issues aside, that should be a massive improvement on next season. Bedding in a new coaching team takes time. It shouldn't have taken as long as it did. Again, we've got another head coming in, so who knows how that's going to turn out. We've got a really good 15, and a strong 23. There's no reason if we keep this 23 fit that we can't compete for top 8. There's absolutely no reason. We got a few stars coming through. Sammy is still coming through. Eddie James, Joe Roberts, Archie. These are the stars of the next 10 years. And if you look down, even again, look into the under 20s who kick off this week on Saturday. Rugby Pass, 6 o'clock. We're facing New Zealand. Get in there. We've got the likes of Josh Morse and Harry Thomas, who, they've really got a lovely stamp of approval on their backs to go forward. So I think we've got a lot to be positive about going forward, and we just need to. We've had worse seasons than this in the 150 odd years that there's been the Scarlet, 151 years or 152 seasons, however it balances out over the Scarlets. We've had years with only a handful of games. We've had years with no games. Could be worse. Could be better. Is what it is. We move on. 7th next season.
If we forget the first 20 league and European rugby matches, we ended the season with 2 bonus point wins. That's the platform for next year. Bring on the playoffs.
Love it.
And I think that brings us to an end of the season. Carwyn has just done a very emphatic mic drop for any of you beautiful audio listeners. Any for the YouTube and video watchers, if the screen hasn't saved, I am very sorry. It's my shit laptop that belongs to my wife, because mine are even shitter and can't run this stupid platform. Thank you very much for listening. We hope you come back next season, and we will have a lot more wins to talk about. I can guarantee you that. And if not, who will have more stats for you? Thanks, lads. Hope to do it again in a very, very, very close turnaround. I think we've only got 2 months off this time. So I love you all. Love you, listeners. Love you, Hugh. Love you, Carwyn. And we'll see you all again. Ta-ra.
Bye.